Okay, so Stellaris is Paradox's, I believe, only fictional kind of game they have coming out. It came out last week, I remember right, and I played about 80 hours since last week to get you an idea of how much I've been playing this, probably a bit too much. Um, so I figure why not record some footage of me playing. I'm not that good at it, so maybe people who see this can give you some tips on how to suck less at the game. But for now, we're going to start a new game. I made two custom races. I have the Holy Drake on order. This is the special well, there's like a Nova edition, and I got that race from that. But I'm gonna play as the Vriest Empire. It's a race I made up myself. They're strong and natural engineers with their xenophiles, a militarist, and a materialist, and a despotic hegemony. Mass drivers, warp travel, and the leadership type. I'll explain more about this once I start the game. I'm going to keep the galaxy size at medium. It does go up to 1,000 stars at huge. You can go as few as 150, but for the sake of this actually getting somewhere, I'll stay on medium with 17 empires. The AI getting 4 advanced AI starts. Hopefully, I don't start near any of those. In the eons since the first primitive Arista communities took shape on the grassy savannas of Arista Prime, our civilization has spread and prospered. Despite our rapid progression through the technological ages, as a species we were fragmented and inefficient. A new system emerged during these chaotic times, delivered us from superstitious beliefs, and brought order to society. Some resisted this change out of irrational fear, but after several pacification wars, they too became productive components of a greater whole. Now, after the successful creation of several experimental subspace fields, the finest minds of the Arista Empire have finished development of the first warp drives. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp. This little starting blurb is, I think you could probably type up your own if you wanted to. I don't know how to, but I know the pre-made empires to start the game have their own, I think. Otherwise, it is randomly generated based upon your homeworld type of the civilization, your ethics that determine your species, and I'd also think the starting government type influences this a bit. And then this last paragraph depends on your chosen FTL method. I guess you have warp travel. The other ones are hyperdrive and wormhole travel. I'll explain those while I play though, because I'm not using them. Other empires may though, so it's important to keep that in mind unless you limit the game to only one type. So here's our home system. Vriesta is like probably on a F-class star, which is a yellow-white dwarf. Nothing particularly special about that. So these planets have all not been surveyed yet, meaning we don't know if they have any resources for us to mine or study or anything like that. So what you always want to do first, we start with a science ship. Ours is the VIS Tesla of the Balalo class. So the easiest way to do this is just you can click on any part of the system. I like to click on the sun and just go to survey system. That way the game will automatically queue up to survey your entire thing. Otherwise, they're going to have to go one by one and go survey this, survey that, and that's just kind of too much effort there, really. Okay. Research in Stellaris is kind of interesting of that. It resembles, or maybe think of Masters of Orion and how you get to pick from at the start of the game. There are 3 options. Don't think anything you don't pick goes away forever. Think about the text of more being like in a deck of cards. Whichever one you don't pick are then shuffled back into the deck. And when you go to research again, they'll draw 3 new cards. Certain government types will increase this by 1, so you can have 4. And I've seen a research that also gives you another 1, so you have like up to 5. The deck is determined by the ethics of your species and also primarily the traits of the scientist in charge. Basically, like since here, Francesco Garibaldi is an expertise in computing, the deck is tend to be weighted to draw up more of these computing technologies than anything else. Um, so that's pretty important to keep in mind if you're aiming for particular technologies or if you're trying to just weigh the deck particularly. Although here, Shu Zhang I don't really like as resilient. While nice, being lived longer is nice, it's not as nice as a research bonus. Like Queen Gao down here, Is maniacal. Gives him more research speed. See here. So for despotic hegemony, we get a 5%. This bonus will only kick in while he's actually researching something. But a good idea to do, at least if you're starting scientists, is if you go check on your empire, you go to leaders. You see this is what we start with here. We have a pretty decent starting scientist on our science ship. The science ship does require a scientist in order to actually do anything, so that's important to keep in mind. What I say to do is look at which ones you have here in the recruiting pool to begin with. I don't really have anything that special. Oh, careful is really nice for a science ship. Although I have to build another science ship before I could use them. So it costs 50 influence, only at the game of 100. In my experience, I probably don't use influence nearly enough, I mean, because I tend to have this capped at 1,000 eventually. I just never really tend to use it too much. Otherwise, no real outstanding scientist here, beyond Yuto here, who I might use on a second science ship so I can survey more systems faster. Our governor's adaptable, not really the best either. I mean, levels up faster, but do I have any nicer ones here? Agarian upbringing would be nice, but I don't need it on my home planet. Nah, I'll keep him there. It's not too bad. So first, gonna pick some technologies here to research. Of these three, I'm gonna get the physics lab first, so I can try to increase the amount of physics I generate per turn. Here, not per month. I'll generate 5 points right now, monthly, for I think these speed modifiers and other things. And also, this is computing. So when I click this, you also have a 17% research bonus. A 17, or I think it was 7% I meant, but it's plus 10% because it is computing like his. For society, you always want to start with this one here, New Worlds Protocol. So I mentioned before, technologies work in like a deck of cards. If you don't pick this now, you might have a long time before it comes up again. And you need this in order to get colony ships, which means you need this to actually colonize any planets. While all the technologies are randomly shuffled, this one is always guaranteed to start in your starting deck, basically, starting hand. So always start with it. Unless you really just want to try something different, but I would recommend you don't. Just get the colony ship right away. For engineering, as he's a maniacal, he gets a 5% bonus no matter what. I don't really like all these that much. I'll just get nuclear missiles. I started the game with mass drivers. Nuclear missiles are the long-ranged weapon type, so I'll get some nukes. So I have a long-range weapon before they close into close combat. For now, I'm going to start the game on normal speed. Let some of this start going. So I explain some of the things here. See here, this is our home world here for Arista Prime. Each tile has a bit of resource it outputs when it's worked by a population. Regrettably, our world does have 2 completely useless tiles that have no resources. These are tile blockers, as you can tell when you click on them. They cost energy credits and minerals to remove, and along with a certain number of days. But for now, I wouldn't worry about removing these off your homeworld, because you're better off first getting all the tiles you have currently open worked. So for now, I'm going to take this food tile here, put a hydroponics farm on it. So the more farm I get, means more food. As you can see here, this population is still growing. It's at 1 out of 45. If you mouse down here, you can see I'm only getting +1 a month. I'm not sure on the exact formula, but the more food you have in surplus, the faster this goes. And you want to be able to get your planets filled up as fast as possible usually, because you do sort of suffer research penalties once you pass 10 population. So you want your population to be working as effectively as possible. So the more people you have per planet, the more you're getting out of it. So our homeworld here is only a size 16. It's pretty decent. I've seen up to 25s, which are the best, I think. So 16's alright. You can see here the I think it's Tesla. It's got to run a survey thing. We can see here the sun can be produced 2 energy credits. So we take our construction ship here, the Pacific of the Rubicon class. You go and build a mining station there. This will increase the amount of energy credits you gain per month by 2. I believe while stations normally cost 1 energy credit in upkeep, this 2 is going to be the net gain. So I guess technically it's 3, or it's just that energy credit stations don't cost any upkeep. So the Pacific is going to get out here, and we're going to start benefiting from that. It's better if you find minerals early on. Energy credits are nice. So we get another +2 over here on the Akatsuki. But energy credits are not like, say, gold in Civilization or Crusader Kings 2, for a more appropriate example. You can't spend it on too much, as far as I'm aware. So, but you want a surplus of it because you will have a hard time actually gaining energy credits later into the game as your empire grows larger. Because we start with a fleet here. These fleets cost less as long as they're docked, but when they're out and about, they consume more energy. And of course, as your ships get more and more advanced, they will cost more and more energy and upkeep. So you shouldn't be surprised when you're late in the game, you're going to war, and you're actually losing energy credits every month because you have to maintain your fleets. So you want to have this, you want to make sure that when you're not at war or anything, that you have this in positive as much as possible, because you want to bank up a lot of it. It's always a good thing to have a lot of energy credits on hand. You'll never know when you're going to need it. Before I speed the game up, we'll take a look at more of the galaxy here. See, this is where we are. We're the Varista Empire. We're like halfway towards the Galactic Center, near the Oranti Shroud, the Dishek Dust Clouds. We've got the Picarius Drift up here to the north. Now, oh, that's a little bit bad here. Our starting borders actually have no other systems inside of it. See, these resources we're finding, you can only take advantage of them so long as they fall within the borders of your empire. In our case, no other system falls in the borders of it, so we can't benefit from any other ones we find until we get our borders that far. Those pop-ups only happen, I think, the first time you do an action. I believe they're leftovers of this game. Does have a tutorial you can turn on, and they'll give you little missions to do. Construction complete. So this is just confirming that. I don't need that 200 credits right now. We'll get this +2 society research on Concord. As Varista Prime is already giving me +2, this is now giving me a total of 9 when it's all said and done, which is pretty nice. You don't usually find too many research points laying around on planets. Your main generation of them will be the planets themselves when you build labs on them. So whenever you find them in systems, it's a good idea to take advantage of them when you can, as long as, of course, you can reach them. So, you can see here, the Tesla is almost done surveying our entire home system. I have to say, so far, I'm not really liking it. I don't have any minerals. And minerals are very, very valuable to me in the game, because you need them for everything. Yeah, I've got a lot of energy in the system, but I've got no mineral income, except for my basic 8. Minerals are, in my experience, the most important resource up here. You need them to build everything. And particularly in the early game, that's lucky I have a +3 right there. Okay, so I'll get a little bit extra. Normally what you'd want to do, pause the game real quick, is you would survey all the systems inside your border before you go anywhere else. Because you want to be able to improve you want to be able to work all the resources you have at your disposal. As I don't have any, I'm just going to start by looking at ONAB. I'm going to just send the Tesla out there to survey it. See, I only get 8 minerals a month, and it costs 90 minerals to build a station, so it takes me about 11 months to actually build another one. It's not too great at the beginning of the game. It's going to really slow my ability to build and expand pretty significantly. I've got a lot of energy credits, but I would have preferred if all these energy credits were like minerals instead. Just getting +7 or +10 minerals in your home system at the start of the game is very nice and could very rapidly expand your empire compared to energy credits. So it's a bit of a shame. Your home system is always randomly generated, and as far as I'm aware, the game doesn't have like a starting bias. So even if you can actually get a home system that has absolutely no resources in it, or barely anything, and it doesn't mean you just have hidden resources somewhere else. The only starting bias the game has is somewhere nearby, you're always guaranteed to find colonizable worlds. I think at least 2. But that doesn't mean they'll be good planets. So you can see here on the ONAB system, you can tell by the little planet icon, there are habitable worlds in here. They're Arctic. We can't colonize Arctic worlds because we started the game on a continental homeworld, which means our species has a bias towards continental planets. I think as I click on one here, you can see their traits to have a continental preference. the beginning of the game, you can only colonize planets that match your homeworld. You have to get technology to colonize any of the other ones to settle on them. And in our case, only tropical and oceans are really that good an idea. While we can do deserts and arctics, they aren't really that ideal because, again, your habitability does determine how happy your population can be. You can change planet types through terraforming, but that takes some technology, and I haven't really messed with it too much yet. Meantime, I still don't have enough minerals to build a mining station there. Let's take a look at our ruler here. We have Overlord Varista von Bronquia. She has Industrialist, so plus 10% minerals is pretty good to have in the game. It's not the best. And Resilient is alright, since she lives longer. Again, not really the best. Our heir is Deputy Overlord Henrietta. She will probably not live long enough to actually inherit control of the Varista Empire due to Bronquia having Resilient. She'll probably outlive her heir, and her heir will die. Although her heir also has Resilience, so she might live long enough. She's also going to Corvette focus. Now, we got an event here from when we were surveying a planet. The discovery of alien life. The VIS Tesla has made a startling discovery in ONAB 2A. The moon is teeming of alien life. For the first time in history, we have encountered life forms that did not originate on Varista Prime. This amazing discovery has silenced those who believe we were alone in the universe. Although none of the alien creatures found on ONAB 2A are sentient, it's likely only a matter of time before we encounter beings that are. Oh, let me get free 60 society research. When you get points like that, it's put into a pool. And for what I understand, points in the pool... Let me see here, because I've got 9... I get 60 right now. 50. Yeah, the points in the pool are spent at like double the rate that you generate. So they really help speed up your research when that happens. You need 360 points. We're at 0.1883 right now. So it also takes about a year. Not too bad. It takes 2 years to do a physics lab. And this is a little follow-up from our previous event here, the Simple Forms of Life. The Varista Empire is a buzz of news of the alien organisms discovered by the VIS Tesla some time ago. These little evolutionary marvels kindle in the Varista people a renewed hope of first contact with intelligent beings. And don't worry, we'll find some. There are 17 other empires in the game, I think, by default, on the default settings. They're out here. Somewhere. Oh! This is a random event that can happen as a result of your starting system, basically. This doesn't always happen, so it's a little bit interesting to get it. So then, mass extinction. Our first stumbling steps into the void beyond Varista Prime were not motivated solely by curiosity or a desire to conquer the unknown, or a need to leave our mark on the galaxy. The biosphere of Varista Prime has undergone rapid changes in the past few centuries, and prominent scientists warn that Varista Prime may be faced with the beginnings of a mass extinction event. That cyclical purging of life as inseparable from planetary existence in the greater cosmos. A research plan has been put together to study a number of planets rendered uninhabitable by major astronomical incidents or planet-bound catastrophes. We hope that reconstructing these events, a similar fate may be avoided for Varista Prime and the Varista race. It falls to you as Overlord of the Varista Empire to ensure that this expedition is carried out. Consult the situation log for details for Varista in the future. So we have the Mass Extinction Through the Ages event chain. It's a bit of a unique starting event to get. Here's the situation log. You will learn to love or hate this panel. This will show all of your important things. See here, we need to survey 5 particular planets to get the information so we can prevent our homeworld from dying. By default, you would just have to kind of guess, but easier, just click on track on map. Let's see where all these are located. I'm only seeing 4. Did I miss one? Okay, so maybe one of them shared a system. Okay, it's fine. So 3 of these are pretty close to us. This one's a little bit further out, but still reachable. So here's the thing. This is how faster than light travel, or at least warp travel, works. Anywhere inside this orange dotted line, the ship can reach from where it's currently located. So we can move anywhere inside this radius every time we go to a new system. So it makes it very easy to reach these faraway spots without too much difficulty. That's why I kind of tend to like it the most. Also, I should have been building this mine station here because I've been losing mineral income. So we finished Surveying the ONAP system. And, it's got 5 minerals in it too, but I can't benefit from it because it is not inside our borders. So, what I probably want to do first is I want to go finish this event chain, as the rewards for it aren't that great, but it's best to get it out of the way as soon as possible, otherwise the rewards are even less valuable. So, let's head over here towards this system first. We won't survey it to begin with, because you only want to survey the planet you need to actually survey. It's just a fast way to finish the quest chain. And you want to finish it as soon as possible just because, why not? In the meantime, I really wish we had more minerals in our home system. Okay. For now, I'm going to speed the game up and get to this fast, so we can kind of get this early game a bit faster. We've got Anacross. Doesn't have any planets in it, so I would also say in the early game, if it's not in your borders, you probably only want to survey systems that actually have habitable worlds to begin with. Just because that's what you're going to be looking for. That's your first thing. You want to find another planet to inhabit. Particularly if your home system like mine is not that great. You don't really want to stay on it for too long. So, we're looking for one of the planets here in Waltum. Mass extinction desolate planet. A planet system still wears the fossilized traces of a past ecology on its sleeve. One could turn a live, thriving biosphere into a blasted wasteland. Special project. And the burnt planet is also in here. One of the planets orbiting this star bears the still open wounds of some past calamity. Surface is a rolling sea of half-melted minerals boiling to a superheated atmosphere. But for recent astronomers claim that it may have once supported life. You can see, here's our special projects in the system. We have to survey both of these. Or rather, go do the special projects on them. And, I don't want the game going there. That's my mistake. I wasted a month. So let's hear of Waltum 5. And go do the research project. You also can see there is a ocean world over here. Size 20, actually. That's pretty good. And a desert size 12, but deserts I can't use. As you can see, well, I don't have the ability to survey it. So Tesla's going to go over here and study this barren world. As you can see, a barren world is not colonizable. You can't settle on barren worlds. Okay, good, we got a mining station going. We really needed that. Working 11 minerals a month. Not every planet type in this game is colonizable. Only the ones that have those little Earth icons by them, basically. You can't colonize barrens or moltens or gas giants. Special project complete. Mass extinction, barren. Life on the now barren planet was sadly doomed from the start. As if by some cruel stellar conspiracy, the dominant species on the planet barely had time to awaken to sapience and invent agriculture before, through unfortunate geological mechanisms, the Earth started turning sour. Samples from lower soil strata and the fossilized remains of the creatures that once roamed the planet show that several vital minerals needed to rejuvenate the soil ended up, through their largely agricultural diet, in the endoskeletons of the native beings. Their bones are prone to fossilize rather than decay, and their very existence exhausted the fragile ecosystem that they inhabited, leaving it permanently transformed in the wake of their passing. So hopefully it's not happening to our homeworld, because it probably would have happened already. So now we surveyed that one. We're going to go and research the other one in the system. I tend to play the game here at the fast speed and just pause whenever I have to do events. It just helps things go by a bit quicker. We don't really need those energy credits right now, so I'm not going to build mining stations on them. It's take a while to pay them off. I'd rather go here, and we're going to build a basic science lab here. This will increase our research output and everything by 1, but in particular it's also going to help with more society for further specialization. Mass extinction molten. The unfortunate fate of the planet can be laid squarely at the feet of cosmic whims. Some gravitational disturbance, after eyeing the system some suspicion, our scientists named a transient space-time anomaly as a likely culprit, forced the planet from its natural orbit to one much too close to the sun. although the planet is slowly spiraling out towards its original orbit, it has been cooking in the residual heat from the star ever since. Hopefully again not happening to our planet. Zero Wolfram does have a Class M star. It's a red dwarf. Yeah, as you can see, I think the star types do maybe influence the type of worlds you might find, because it does mention here they don't have the UV light. They don't have almost UV light that results in unfavorable conditions for most forms of life. I'm not sure if this actually does. I would think it does, but I haven't actually looked into it too much. So, let's not survey the rest of the system, as it's not useful for us and it's too far from our borders to really be considered. And we're going to go up towards this next one here on the dust clouds. Like 4 jumps. Hopefully you don't run into anything along the way. And that's the hope anyway. Because there is hostile life in the galaxy besides other empires that might go to war with us. I'm actually a bit surprised we haven't seen some of the other life in the galaxy yet. You usually run into them, some of them pretty early. But so this galaxy is randomly generated, so we're just not having any of it show up. Oh, and here we found something. We have encountered some form of alien vessels in the Ho-Cry system. These strange objects have been flagged as alpha aliens. Until we learn about them, we should proceed with caution. Whoop. Anyway, alien ships. So again, these are little events that pop up in the first league of first contact. Now then, if I know what this is, okay. These are, okay, no, these are, whoops. I forgot the game. Oh, the test already jumped out, didn't it? Other than that, I wanted to turn off. By default, your civilian ships are on evasive. So they flee if they run into anything that's hostile. Even though these ships will not seek them out. So, that's what you kind of managed to tell them. But in this case, I already missed it. So I think it's going to jump back. I don't think I can stop it. Can I? I'll turn it to passive and see if I can't stop it from trying to flee. Okay, no, it didn't finish. Okay. Out of experience, these ones will not attack you unless you get close to them. If you get near them, they will attack you and they will most likely destroy you. So don't do that. Now, the thing, we got a special project here called Investigate Alpha Aliens. The various aliens don't actually are predetermined. You basically get these assigned in what order you discover things. Since we saw those ones first, they're alpha aliens. It's important to note, although the game does say any society of research we put on hold, this is not as bad as it sounds, because in those months that it gets put into your storage here, and as mentioned, anything on this storage gets spent at like double the rate. So unless it takes you like over 6 months or something, you won't really lose time. So it's generally a good idea to do these as soon as possible, except for when it's other empires, which I'll explain later when we actually run it any. But for these ones, we actually want to research these right away because they have a useful benefit. So we'll start that right now. Ooh, yeah, Kubins actually has a continental world in it. Ooh, a size 24 one too. I'm going to have to keep that in mind for later, because that might actually be a useful system to colonize. For now, let's focus on our goal. We want to go check out this system. For another one of these worlds our scientists have, or astronomers have somehow seen, despite the fact it's light years away. Noxious planet. Allegedly, this planet's flora and fauna choked on their own poisonous emissions, likely helped along by the release of reactive gases from beneath the planet's crust. So let's see where it's at. Okay, it's right over there, so go research it. That looks like an ocean world. I don't actually see what size it is. Usually it should tell me when I click on it. This is a nebula over here. Slows down any ships in it by, I think, 30%. Yeah, 30%. When they're not in a faster than life travel. So your first program is now finished constructing that basic science lab, which now improves this tile from giving us 3 society, 1 physics, and 1 engineering. Well, in total, actually 1.05, 1.20, and 3.15. Our race is a natural engineer, so they do gain an additional 15% when they are gathering engineering. So it's popping up to 1.2 from that farm. That increased it by 0.2, it seems. Assume we're also getting another energy credit and a minerals. Regrettably, these tiles produce nothing, which is a major concern, because they don't have any resources. We'll worry about that in a bit, because until the population actually grows, it doesn't do anything. In the meantime, we've finished it. There we go. The cracks in the planet's crust, first presumed to be the result of significant tectonic activity, are actually the lasting marks of impossibly large roots burrowing through the Earth. At some point in the distant past, a freak mutation, possibly deliberately induced by sentient beings, though it is unlikely they could have predicted the result, caused the native plant life to grow out of control. Many of these plants reproduce through pollination, with countless gametes carried by currents through the lower atmosphere. While this process was originally only caused for mild irritation, the exponential increase in atmosphere-borne particles effectively choked out the life out of all the animals on the planet in a matter of months. Now, we've reached 3 of the planets so far, so we'll go for the next one nearest to us. Taking this weird zigzag. Here we go. The alpha aliens are the space amoebas. The entities encountered by our fleet some time ago are new, wondrous forms of spaceborne life. Quickly nicknamed space amoebas, following an analyst's gross misreading of initial sensor output, the creature is in fact larger than the average of a Varista Corvette. You should leave it be and remotely monitor creature and kin from Varista Prime. You get 2 options here. You can either try to kill one. I would not really recommend this. Space amoebas are pretty deadly to Corvettes. If you have a bigger fleet, you can probably try this, but I would just assume just go instead to issue a special project for remote space amoeba study. I do believe this might determine the kind of bonus you get, but because I haven't really built up a fleet, and again, space amoebas are pretty strong. So we're going to do the remote study. Oops, wrong button. Right here. Here's that as well. Now when we mouse this over, it should say, well, if you go back to the system now, instead of saying alien vessels, it'll say space amoebas. Until you basically do the first contact research, there's always just referred to as alien vessels. Oh, we found some more. The betas, and over there in Sigma Draconis. Oh, and we also finished our physics lab. Let's pause the game real quick here. Ooh. Well, I'll get administrative AI. This increases our research speed by a flat 5% for everything. So I tend to find this one pretty handy, particularly if you get it earlier on. It just probably helps because he's a computing specialist, so it's more likely that computing technology show up. Take a look. What do we... Oh! Alright, see. These ones I know about. These ones are hostile again, but like the space amoebas, they will generally not attack you unless you are close to them. There's quite a few of them here. I've never actually seen this many before in one system. Should we know that the science ship has no weapons or anything to begin with. As you can see here, it's completely defenseless. Its only defense is to run the hell away. It's still not that good, it only has a 10% evasion. So one more jump to reach the next system that we need to go look at. Ooh, a tomb world. These ones are special ones. Tomb worlds right here. Oops. Space amoebas forever. Space amoebas, the nickname now lovingly popularized on Varista Prime, are solitary animals left to their own devices. All but the youngest specimens are accompanied by quasi-independent organisms dubbed flagella, seemingly spawned by the amoeba and programmed through liquid RNA-laced secretions to do the bidding of the host. Initially assumed to be young space amoebas, the flagella do not seem to factor into any reproductive mechanics, each individual flagellum instead operating solely as a disconnected limb for its host amoeba. These flagella are capable of manipulating and even attacking objects in an impressive yet restricted range around the host, periodically returning to lodge inside the host amoeba's body for reprogramming. There are potential military applications of the graceful patterns of the circulation apparent in the flagella's movement. This is like to do the space amoeba one as soon as possible. Is now we get a plus 5% evasion to everything in our empire for the rest of the game. Which is kind of nice. Doesn't hurt. Tomb worlds are kind of special. Ooh, we finished our nuclear missiles. Space-to-space missiles equipped with high-yield nuclear warheads. Although based on old pre-space technology, these crude fire-forget weapons can be surprisingly effective at range. These nuclear missiles are the long-ranged weapon type. Mass drivers I have selected are the close-range, and lasers are close to medium-range weapons. There's a vague rock, paper, scissors element to the combat, in a sense, is that mass drivers chew through shields, but they're not as effective against armor, whereas lasers will melt through armor pretty well, but they're not that great against shields. Missiles are kind of a middle ground, although they are vulnerable to being shot down by small weapons and point defense systems. Now that we got that out of the way, although armor is nice, I'd rather get an engineering facility for the same reason you want to be able to get these earlier on, just because research points are so valuable. The more you get, this really helps you out. So I'm start researching nanomechanics to get an engineering facility unlocked. In the meantime, I know from personal experience, the research you get from these is not that important. It depends on your ethics. The planet of interest in this system is covered in layer upon layer of dense ices of varying composition. Apparently, it's once home to many more variety and pleasant biomes.
Situation log updated.
See here, we've got another one to research, so we'll go over there. The outcomes of some of these special projects. We got colony ships now. Calculating required resources and gear required to establish a planetary colony allows us to herd brave pioneers into grand arc ships, confident that they will survive the long voyage across the stars to a new home. And now here, I would get this frontier clinic. This is actually a really nice building for your colonies. These two are also kind of nice. They aren't as important for me right now, so I get the frontier clinic. It's going to take a while though. It's going to take like 2 years. The outcomes of some of these special projects for first contacts do depend upon your ethics. I think there's one that actually has a pretty nice bonus from this one. I don't remember what it is. I don't have it though. It does lead to things, but I don't think it leads to any empire-wide bonus in my experience. Now then, here's the issue. Colony ships cost a lot of minerals, 350. It's going to take us about another 10 months to get after that, so I have to not build anything for like 10 more months. It's a real shame. But I guess I can hold off that long. This guy won't be grown in time for that. You can build mining stuff on your planets, as you can kind of clearly see here. I tend to not really like doing this unless you really have to. As you can generally find, you'll find minerals all over the galaxy. They're very plentiful, usually. So I'd rather not use them on our homeworld because I could put those tiles to some other use. Although if I don't find some systems with nice minerals, I'll have no choice but to start doing it on the planets. Because having only plus 12 here is pretty terrible.
Special project complete.
An unnatural shift in the atmosphere's chemical makeup resulted in a slow but irreversible onset of an ice age, one that began before the formation of the Freest Empire and is likely to persist long after our passing. The exact cause remains unknown, but probable explanations include failed terraforming attempts or even intraplanetary terrorism. Some of the more radical elements within the scientific community on Vrista Prime suggested that the dramatic climate shift may have been brought on by the unchecked emission of gaseous industrial byproduct into the atmosphere. This view is confined to the scientific fringe. It is unlikely that any race intelligent enough to achieve full industrialization would be stupid enough to accidentally wipe themselves out. Yeah, that would be really stupid of them, wouldn't it? So, you have one more spot. It's pretty far away, so let's start the process. 1, 2, 3, 5 jumps. I wish this event popped up sooner. The Habitable World Survey. We now know without a doubt that a thriving biosphere is not something unique to Vrista Prime. Both the scientific community and the public at large are eager to learn more about the various forms of alien life found throughout the galaxy. Efforts to catalog the life forms we encounter are already underway. Our xenobiologists would have urged us to focus our planetary survey efforts on habitable, life-bearing worlds. You can turn this one down, but again, I don't see any particular reason to. Start it now. The goal of this one, I think, is just to survey, 8 habitable worlds. Not ones for you, just 8 in general. You can see you've already got to like 4, 5, 6 so far, so pretty far. Unfortunately, that quest is not retroactive, so the 2 we found on ONAB don't count. So it's a bit nicer if that event pops up before you even survey your first systems. That way, you immediately gain progress towards it. But it's generally not one that's too difficult to accomplish. The world actually has quite a number of habitable worlds. Whether you actually go out and inhabit them yourself is a different story entirely. Now, we almost have enough minerals for our colony ship. But on the other hand, since we haven't actually surveyed any habitable worlds, we know of probably one out here, but we haven't seen what it's like. Arctic and arid there. I'm going to actually waste some of it to get us some more energy credits. Because colony ships are kind of expensive to maintain. And colonies also cost money to maintain until they actually become stealth established. We don't have that large of a surplus. Ooh, wow, that's only 4 worlds in it. I haven't seen that many before. Desert, Arctic, Tundra, and a Tomb. I've seen 5 before. That's the most I've ever seen, though. Fortunately, none of them are continental, so we can't colonize any of those planets. Which is a shame. We're almost to our destination. The Picaris Drift. Our astronomers are confident the asteroid belt in the system was once a habitable planet torn asunder by unknown forces.
Situation log updated.
See, yes, indeed. It's like E9R858. Used to be a planet. See, we have seen almost nothing of the entire galaxy still. You can imagine the galaxy is quite large. This is only a medium-sized galaxy. On huge, you have 1,000 stars. This is medium, there's only 600. Huge galaxy is pretty huge. So Tesla will finish this up pretty soon. Scientists have gone up a level. It's just, for these scientists, their levels just flat up increase their research speed. All leaders go up to 5 stars. So at level 5, they'll gain 10%. Which again helps. You can never have too much research speed. That's my experience. Unless you can build instantly, not enough. Actually, something I want to do, before I unpause the game here, is I'm going to build another Corvette. Again, it's going to delay how soon we can get colony ships, but we haven't found any worlds to inhabit yet, it's not a big deal. But you want to have more than you're starting 3 ships. Let me show you a bit about ships here too. I'm going to keep this an auto-generated just for these ones, I think. Or, you know, I'm going to turn it off. No auto-generated ships. Here is the Fox-class Corvette that the game started us with. And the game's upgraded once because I had auto-generation on. You can keep this on if you want for the entire game, but I kind of want to learn how to build decent ships. My sense, the auto-generation designs aren't that bad. They're effective ships, but of course they're not the best as if you just hand-build them yourself. So the Fox-class Corvette is equipped with 2 small nuclear missiles and a small mass driver. We have nothing else really though in particular. We have no armor or no shields. Corvettes are the first and smallest and generally considered the weakest ship class in the game. Their one advantage is they are highly maneuverable. I mean, they only have 10% evasion right now. They can easily get up to like 50% or higher, which can actually still make them pretty deadly even in the late game. And I believe Paradox is intending to nerf them because they're a little overpowered as they are now, apparently. I can see, there are reasons why I can see this, because armor here, most importantly, is a flat percentage reduction. So if you stick enough armor on a Corvette, it can still take blows for like battleships and just shrug it off, if it even gets hit in the first place, because it'll probably just evade most attacks in the first place. But anyway, here's our basic ship, the Fox-class Corvette. I'm going to build a few more of those. I generally like to get around 5 or 6. The asteroid is in actuality a chunk of what was once a habitable and probably inhabited planet. Regular but overlapping fracture patterns indicate that the planetary demolition was intentional and controlled if somewhat rushed. All signs point to this planet being the homeworld of whatever species destroyed it. We may never know what drove them to consider planetary annihilation to be the lesser evil, and perhaps we should be grateful for that. So basically, this planet was blown up by its own people. For some reason. They didn't really tell us why. Now that we have surveyed all 5 of those planets they wanted us to do. While the research expedition often yielded unexpected results, recent scientists now have access to an unprecedented wealth of data with which to accurately model the future of Arista Prime. Initial reports suggest that Arista Prime will be in no real danger for at least a dozen generations, save from freak cosmic events or the violent collapse of the Arista Empire. Basically, the game is just telling you your homeworld is not actually going to die in the game terms. I don't know if you actually went into like 2 centuries or so, maybe. or more, I don't know, but probably not. Now then, we actually get 3 different options here. What else can we learn from these planets? The recent people should be put at ease, and make the planetary data public. Now, I've done this chain before, so I don't like this first option, as it just fully surveys the systems you're just in, which can be useful, but I'd consider it the least useful, because your scientist in charge of the science ship does gain experience for surveying systems. The reason people should put at ease, I think, gives you research. So I've never done the make the planetary data public before. So you know what, heck it, let's try this. We just tell everyone all about these planets that we just looked at. The information gleaned by the research expedition is the property of the recent empire, and access to it is restricted. Precaution put in place early on to prevent premature and unfavorable conclusions. With the study now complete, there is a strong lobby for releasing all associated data to the wider scientific community. And this gives us physics and society research. A lot of society research, actually, so that's pretty decent. Okay, now that we have surveyed what the game wanted us to do, I'll actually consider ending this video here for now. It's been about 5 years in the game. So actually, let's get up to the 5th year, and I'm going to stop the video for now. In the meantime, we're going to send the Tesla back home. And actually, no, we're going to go have it go check out Kubans over here. It's going to take a little bit. But that's a pretty big constant in the world. And if it's got good tiles and it looks decent, I actually want to colonize that one first. So we're going to go until the year 2205. The year starts in the year 2200, or 2200. So it's been 5 years. Alright, so 5 years in the game. Stop the video for now and upload it and see how it all goes. Please let me know what you think. Probably by now I've been recorded in the next video on this set, so anything you say in this won't take effect until later. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.